Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. This is a special podcast doing the 2018-19 NHL season predictions. Your division winners, your conference winners, your cup winners, your award winners, breakout players, flop players, and a lot more. And let's get going with it right away. We're going to start with the East, and we're going to start in the Atlantic Division. First place, I have the Tampa Bay Lightning with 114 points. Second place, the Toronto Maple Leafs with 110 points. Third place, the Boston Bruins with 108 points. Fourth place, the Florida Panthers with 100 points, and I also have them as a wild card. Number 5, the Buffalo Sabres with 87 points. 6th, Montreal Canadiens with 76 points. 7, Detroit Red Wings with 72 points. 8, Ottawa Senators with 67 points. This division is going to be fun if you're talking about the top teams here, because any of these top 3 teams that I have finishing in the top 3 are all capable of winning this top-heavy division. My pick is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their forward crops are loaded with the likes of Steven Stamkos, Nikita Kucherov, and Braden Point. Their defense is among the league's best, with Victor Hedman, Ryan McDonough, Anton Stralman, and Mikhail Sergachev. Andrei Vasilevsky is among one of the best goalies in the game right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs are an up-and-coming team in this league. Free agent acquisition, John Tavares joins Austin Matthews, William Nylander, and Mitch Marner to form a formidable offense. Jake Gardiner and Morgan Riley lead the defensive corps, which aren't great as a whole. Frederik Andersen has been inconsistent in net, but has to be consistent this year if the Leafs are to do any damage in the playoffs. The Boston Bruins are loaded, and this team is only going to get better with all the young talent they have. Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, and David Pastrnak lead the way on offense. Torrey Krug, Charlie McAvoy, and Captain Zdeno Chara lead the way on defense. Tuukka Rask is one of the more better and underrated goalies in this game. The Florida Panthers are going to be one of the more improved teams from last season. Alexander Barkov, Vincent Trocheck, and Jonathan Huberdeau lead the way offensively. Aaron Ekblad and Keith Yandel lead the way defensively. Roberto Luongo is getting up there in age, but he's serviceable in net. The Buffalo Sabres are going to be an improved team from a year ago as well. Jack Eichel, I expect to have a big year offensively as well. Sam Reinhart, new trade acquisition. Jeff Skinner, who may be trade bait again if things don't go well. And sleeper candidate for the Calder Award, Casey Middlestat. Their defense will be improved with number 1 overall pick, Rasmus Dahlin, joining up with Rasmus Ristolainen. Carter Hutton will be their man in net, and he's solid, but I don't know if he's great. The Montreal Canadiens are a team that's entering a rebuild. On offense, gone are Alex Galchenyuk and Max Pacioretty. Still there is Jonathan Drouin and Brendan Gallagher, and new arrivals are Thomas Tatar and Max Domi. Shea Weber and Jeff Petrie are their top pairing on defense, and neither of them are the players they once were. Carey Price also isn't the same guy he used to be either. The Detroit Red Wings are another team in a rebuild. Gone is Henrik Zetterberg, and still around are the likes of Gustav Nyquist, Dylan Larkin, and Anthony Mantha on offense. Their defense isn't that terrible, though, with the likes of Mike Green, Danny DeKeyser, and Nicholas Kronwall. Jimmy Howard is a goalie that's past his prime and hasn't been good in a long time. The Ottawa Senators are perhaps the worst team in the sport this season. Forwards like Mark Stone and Matt Duchene will be traded, and other forwards like Colin White need to have big years to make themselves pieces for the Senators to keep long term. Their defense is awful after the trading of Erik Karlsson, and their best 2 defensemen are Cody Ceci and Thomas Chabot. And I don't think either of them are considered elite. Craig Anderson is still a solid goalie and will keep them in some games, and I really think there's a significant chance that he's trade bait. The Metropolitan Division. First place I have the Philadelphia Flyers with 110 points. I had to pick a surprise somewhere, folks. Second, Pittsburgh Penguins with 108 points. Third, Washington Capitals with 107 points. Fourth, the Columbus Blue Jackets with 102 points and as a wild card team. Fifth, I have the New Jersey Devils with 90 points. Sixth, I have the Carolina Hurricanes with 88 points. Seventh, I have the New York Rangers with 75 points. And eighth, I have the New York Islanders with 74 points. This division has 5 or 6 teams that will be solid depending on whether things break right or not. The Philadelphia Flyers are my surprise pick to win this division over the two franchises that won the last 3 Stanley Cups. Their offense is awesome, led by Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, Jacob Voracek, Wayne Simmons, and new acquisition James Van Riemsdyk. The defense is up and coming as a whole, led by Shane Gostisbehere. Brian Elliott will be their starter in net to start the season at least. The Pittsburgh Penguins are still a very good team in this league. Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Phil Kessel lead the way on this loaded offense. Their defense is solid, led by Chris Letang and Justin Schultz. Matt Murray is one of the better goalies in the game right now. The reigning Stanley Cup champion Washington Capitals are a team that I think will take a bit of a step back this season with some key offseason losses and a new coach. Alex Ovechkin, Nicholas Backstrom, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and TJ Oshie lead the way offensively. John Carlson leads the way on defense along with Matt Niskanen, Dmitry Orlov, and Brooks Orpik. Braden Holtby is one of the better goalies in the league who had a bad regular season last year and rebounded nicely to help the Capitals win the Cup last year. The Columbus Blue Jackets are a fascinating team this season with their star goalie Sergei Bobrovsky, who's been amazing as a member of the Jackets, and their best forward, Artemi Panarin, in contract years. Along with Panarin, Pierre-Luc Dubois and Cam Atkinson lead the way offensively. Seth Jones is out to start the season with the torn MCL on defense, and now Zach Werenski and David Savard have to carry the load on that end. The New Jersey Devils are primed to take a step back this season after making the playoffs a season ago. Reigning Hart Trophy winner Taylor Hall leads the way on offense to go with Kyle Palmieri and Nico Hischier. The defense isn't that good outside of Sami Vatanen. Corey Schneider had an injury-plagued season a year ago, and I expect him to be better. The Carolina Hurricanes are a team that made some major changes this summer. Bill Peters is out, and Rod Brind'Amour is in as head coach. Their forward crops feature the likes of Sebastian Aho, Jordan Staal, Teuvo Teravainen, and rookie Andrei Svechnikov. And gone on offense are Jeff Skinner and Elias Lindholm. Dougie Hamilton and Calvin DeHaan were the big additions on defense to go with Justin Falk, and they traded Noah Hannafin to get Hamilton. Scott Darling and Peter Mrazek are their options in net. The New York Rangers are a team enduring a rebuild. Their offense will put up points with the likes of Matt Zuccarello, Chris Kreider, and Mika Zibanejad in the development of youngsters like Philip Teitel and Elias Anderson when Anderson gets recalled. Their defense is among the worst in the league, and their best defenseman may be Brady Shea. Henrik Lundqvist has had a phenomenal career, but his best days are unfortunately behind him. The New York Islanders are also enduring a bit of a rebuild. Gone is franchise star John Tavares, who took his talents to Toronto. Anders Lee, Jordan Eberle, and reigning Calder Trophy winner Matthew Barzal have to carry the offense. The defense is not good at all, and their best defensemen in Nick Leddy and Johnny Boychuk are both past their primes. Their goaltending situation isn't great either, and their starter is Thomas Greiss. The Western Conference. The Central Division. First place I have the Nashville Predators with 112 points. Second place I have the Winnipeg Jets with 111 points. Third place I have the St. Louis Blues with 105 points. Fourth place I have the Colorado Avalanche with 102 points, getting a wild card spot. Fifth place I have the Minnesota Wild with 100 points, also getting a wild card spot. Sixth place I have the Dallas Stars at 95 points. In seventh place I have the Chicago Blackhawks with 77 points. This division has a chance to have 5 playoff teams, and that's what I have projected. The Nashville Predators won the President's Trophy a season ago, and I think they can win that again. Their offense is awesome, led by Philip Forsberg, Victor Edvardsen, and Ryan Johansson. Their defense is among the league's best, led by Captain Roman Josi, PK Subban, and Ryan Ellis. Reigning Vezina Trophy winner Pekka Rinne will certainly be in the mix for the award again, although he's had some rough playoff games in goal. The Winnipeg Jets are going to be a great team again this season after making the second round a year ago. Patrick Laine, Blake Wheeler, Mark Sheffley, and Kyle Connor lead the loaded offense. Their defense is solid too, led by Dustin Byfuglien and Jacob Trouba. Connor Hellebuck is one of the up-and-coming goalies in this league, and I think has an excellent chance of winning the Vezina Trophy. The St. Louis Blues are poised to have a bounce-back season after missing out on the playoffs a season ago. Their offense is going to be great, led by Vladimir Tarasenko, Alex Steen, Braden Shen, and new trade acquisition Ryan O'Reilly. Their defense is still very good, led by Alex Pietrangelo and Colton Parayko. Jake Allen has been dealing with back issues in the preseason, but he should be okay to go, and I think he's actually pretty solid in goal. The Colorado Avalanche are a team that's looking to build on last season's success. Their offense is great, led by Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Gabriel Landeskog. Their defense is up and coming, led by Tyson Barrie, Eric Johnson, and Samuel Girard. Semyon Varlamov is solid in net when he's healthy, and I believe he's in a contract here too. The Minnesota Wild have been a playoff team the past 6 seasons, and I expect them to make it a 7th straight season. The offense is very good, led by Eric Stahl, Mikael Granlund, and the injury-plagued Zach Parise. The defense is one of the more underrated ones in the league, led by Ryan Suter, Matt Dumba, and Jared Spurgeon. Devin Dubnyk is an underrated goalie in this league and could be a dark horse Vezina candidate. The Dallas Stars I expect to be an improved team under new head coach Jim Montgomery. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Alex Radulov lead the way offensively. Their defense isn't great, but John Klingberg will put up his points, and Miro Heiskanen is a likely breakout candidate in the league. Ben Bishop is still solid in goal. The Chicago Blackhawks are a team that's looking to bounce back from a disastrous season from a year ago, but I don't think they're a contender anymore with the aging roster they have and all the other teams in their division, let alone their conference, passing them by. Jonathan Toews is not the same anymore, although Patrick Kane will still rack up points on offense. Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook are not the defensemen they used to be. Corey Crawford has been dealing with concussion issues in the preseason, but should be ready to go in goal. The Pacific Division. First place, I have the San Jose Sharks with 110 points. Second place, I have the Anaheim Ducks with 107 points. Third place, I have the Vegas Golden Knights at 104 points. Fourth place, I have the Los Angeles Kings at 94 points. Fifth place, I have the Edmonton Oilers at 89 points. Sixth place, I have the Calgary Flames at 85 points. Seventh place, I have the Arizona Coyotes with 75 points. And eighth place, I have the Vancouver Canucks with 72 points. This division has so many intriguing teams for completely different reasons. The San Jose Sharks are a team that made itself better in the offseason with the addition of Erik Karlsson on defense to go with Brent Burns and Marc-Edouard Vlasic. Their offense is great too, led by Joe Pavelski, Logan Couture, Joe Thornton, and Evander Kane. Martin Jones is one of the more underrated goalies in this league. The Anaheim Ducks are another solid team in the league. Their offense will miss Corey Perry as he'll miss 5 months due to knee surgery, but Ryan Getzlaf, Ryan Kessler, and Adam Henrique are among the guys that will carry the load. The defense is great, led by Cam Fowler and Hampus Lindholm. John Gibson is another underrated goalie in this league. The Vegas Golden Knights had a dream season in their inaugural year, and a step back seems like a possibility. Their offense will be better with the additions of Max Pacioretty and Paul Stastny, and that could offset regression from guys like William Karlsson and Jonathan Marchessault. Their defense is solid too, with guys like Nate Schmidt, who suspended the first 20 games due to violating the league's drug policy, Colin Miller, and Shea Theodore. Marc-Andre Fleury is aging, but he's still a reliable guy in goal. The Los Angeles Kings are a team that has an aging core, but should be competitive. Anze Kopitar, Jeff Carter, Tyler Toffoli, and new addition Ilya Kovalchuk will lead their offense. The defense is solid too, with Drew Doughty, Jake Muzzin, and Alec Martinez leading the way. Jonathan Quick is still a pretty darn good goalie. The Edmonton Oilers look to bounce back from a disastrous season a year ago. Connor McDavid is the best player in the sport, and he leads their offense along with Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Jesse Puljujarvi. Their defense is suspect at best with the likes of Oscar Cliffbaum, Adam Larson, and Darnell Nurse. Cam Talbot didn't have a good year last year in net, and he has to be better if the Oilers are to be relevant this season. The Calgary Flames look to rebound from a disappointing season from a year ago under new head coach Bill Peters. Elias Lindholm joins an offense already featuring Johnny Gaudreau, Sean Monahan, and Matthew Tkachuk. Mark Giordano and trade acquisition Noah Hannafin lead the way on defense. Mike Smith is not the same goalie he once was, but is capable of stealing games. The Arizona Coyotes are a team that's in still a little bit of a rebuild. Alex Galchenyuk joins Clayton Keller and Derek Stepan on the offensive front. Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Alex Golaski lead the way on defense. Antti Ranta finished the season strong last season, but will he build on that? The Vancouver Canucks are a team that tried to put themselves in a position to improve, but I'm not convinced that the results will show it. The overpaid Jay Beagle and Louis Eriksson were added on offense to go with Bo Horvat and Brock Boeser. Their defense is still suspect with the likes of Alex Edler, Chris Tanev, and Michael Del Zotto. Their goalie tandem is Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nielsen, which I don't think is great. The Stanley Cup playoffs for 2019 quarterfinals. Atlantic Division, 1 seed Tampa Bay versus wild card number 2 Florida Panthers. This would be a fun first round between these two in-state rivals. The Panthers are a fun team, but the Bulls are just flat out better in all phases. The prediction, Lightning in 5 games. Atlantic Division 2 seeded Toronto Maple Leafs against the 3-seeded Boston Bruins. These two rivals meet again for the second straight season. I love the Bruins to pull off this upset, despite all the improvements expected from the Maple Leafs this season. So give me the Bruins in 6 games. Metropolitan Division 1 seed Philadelphia Flyers against the number 1 wildcard Columbus Blue Jackets. Should be a fun series between two teams that don't usually advance past the first round, especially over the last 10 years. I really like the Flyers and their depth to get past the Blue Jackets. Flyers in 6 is the prediction. Metropolitan Division 2 seed Pittsburgh Penguins against the 3 seed Washington Capitals. The best rivalry in the sport meets again in the postseason for the 4th straight season. The Capitals got the better of the Pens last season, but not this time. Pens take it. The pick, Penguins in 6 games. Central Division 1 seed Nashville Predators against the 2nd wild card in the West, Minnesota Wild. This is a fun division rival. The Preds are just flat out better in all areas, although Devin Dubnyk is capable of keeping the Wild in games and stealing games. Prediction, Predators sweep. Central Division 2 seed Winnipeg Jets against the 3 seed St. Louis Blues. This should be a fun series with talent all around on both teams. The Jets are the better team and with the better goalie in Connor Hellebuck, so I like them here to advance. Jets in 6. Pacific Division 1 seed San Jose Sharks against the wild card Colorado Avalanche. This is a fun series with a lot of talent too. The Sharks are better on defense and in goal, and that's the difference here. Sharks in 5. Pacific Division 2 seed Anaheim Ducks against the 3-seeded Vegas Golden Knights. This is another great series within this division. This was probably the toughest one to pick in the quarterfinals in these projections, but I like the Golden Knights with their experience from last year to get the series win. The prediction, Golden Knights in 6 games. Semifinals. Atlantic Division 1 seed Tampa Bay Lightning against the 3 seed Boston Bruins. Should be a fun series between these contenders as they face off for a second straight year in the semifinals. I like the Bolts again, but this time in a classic. Lightning in 7. Metropolitan Division 1 seed Philadelphia Flyers against the 2 seed Pittsburgh Penguins. This is going to be some series as these teams face off for the second straight postseason, but this time in round 2 rather than round 1. This was a tough call, but I really like this Flyers team to break through and get to the conference final for the first time since 2010. Flyers in 7. Central Division 1 seed Nashville Predators against the 2-seeded Winnipeg Jets. Another fun series rematch from last season. This time around, I like the Jets again, led by Hellebuck in goal and that loaded offense to break through yet again. Jets in 6. 1-seeded Pacific Division champion San Jose Sharks against the 3-seed Vegas Golden Knights. Rematch of a semifinal from a season ago here too. This time around, give me the Sharks, who are the better team this season. Sharks in 6. Conference Finals. Eastern Conference, Atlantic Division, Tampa Bay Lightning against Metropolitan Division, Philadelphia Flyers. This should be a fun conference finals between these two great East teams. The difference in this series is the Lightning's big game experience as they'll advance to their second Cup final in 5 seasons. Lightning in 6 games. Western Conference Final. Central Division 2 seed Winnipeg Jets against the Pacific Division 1 seed San Jose Sharks. Phenomenal series between these two great West contenders. This is as even as it could be, but with the Sharks' depth on defense, that's the difference here, as the Sharks go to their second Stanley Cup final in 4 seasons. Sharks in 6 games. Stanley Cup Final. Eastern Conference Atlantic Division 1 seed Tampa Bay Lightning against the Western Conference Pacific Division 1 seed San Jose Sharks. What a great final we have here. This is probably the final that most fans want to see. Both teams are great in all capacities this season, and this series has classic written all over it. Tough call. Give me Erik Karlsson, Brent Burns, and Martin Jones in that offense to lead the Sharks to their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Sharks in 7 games. That's it for how I think the season will play out from a team standpoint. Now let's go to some award predictions. The Hart Trophy, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. I feel that this award is wide open this season as you can make a case for over 10 guys. McDavid is the safest pick for this award simply because he's the best player in the league and it might not be that close. My runner-up, Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins. Norris Trophy, Victor Hedman, Tampa Bay Lightning. This award is also wide open as I believe 6 or 7 guys have a chance at winning this. Hedman is a stud and is great offensively and defensively for his position. Runner-up, Erik Karlsson, San Jose Sharks. The Vezina Trophy, Connor Hellebuyck, Winnipeg Jets. Hellebuyck was a finalist for this award a season ago, and I believe he takes it home this year. The Jets' defense isn't that great, but Hellebuyck is young and good enough to single-handedly win games when he needs to. Runner-up, Sergei Bobrovsky, Columbus Blue Jackets. The Calder Trophy, Andrei Svechnikov, Carolina Hurricanes. Here's another award I feel that is very open for the taking. Svechnikov could end up the best forward drafted last summer, and I really like him to have an immediate impact on the Canes. Runner-up, Rasmus Dahlin, Buffalo Sabres. Jack Adams Award, Randy Carlyle, Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks are a team folks think will take a step back this season. I think they have 1 or 2 more solid regular seasons in them, and Carlyle deserves the credit. Runner-up, Bruce Boudreau, Minnesota Wild. Selk Trophy, Patrice Bergeron, Boston Bruins. Bergeron is one of the best defensive forwards in the league, and he'll win this award. It also helps that the Bruins are a contender. He is a great player on both ends, and I think his defensive play is underappreciated. Runner-up, Anze Kopitar, Los Angeles Kings. Next segment is my bold prediction for every team. I'm going to go in alphabetical order. First up is the Anaheim Ducks. Finishes top 3 in the Pacific Division despite roster questions. Ryan Kessler and Corey Perry are hurt to start the season. A lot of players are aging on this roster, such as those 2 and Ryan Getzlaf. Their defense is still young and is very good. I'm a big fan of John Gibson. That's the backbone of the team, the defense and the goalie. I think Carlisle's a solid coach. A lot of people have them as first coach fired, but I picked him to win the Jack Adams Award this year. So my bold prediction is that they'll finish top 3 in the Pacific. I have them finishing in second, but although I have them losing in round 1 against the Golden Knights of Las Vegas. Arizona Coyotes. Clayton Keller, career high in points. I think Clayton Keller's going to have a career year this year, and he'll be their best player. Boston Bruins. Trades for Ottawa's Matt Duchene. Boston always tends to make a splashy move at the deadline. They traded for Rick Nash last year. That didn't work out for them. Matt Duchene is somebody that I think can work for them. He's played in big games before with the Avalanche. It just didn't work out in Ottawa. Ottawa's rebuilding. They're going to blow up their team. And Duchesne in Boston makes sense. Buffalo Sabres. Jack Eichel over 80 points. Eichel is such a great talent. He hasn't really put it all together yet. Injuries have been a big part of that, and I think this year, with more talent around Eichel, I think Eichel has a golden opportunity to reach and eclipse the 80-point mark. Calgary Flames. Mike Smith regresses. I just don't think Mike Smith's the same goalie as he used to be. I said it when I previewed Calgary. And that's a big reason why I have them out of the playoffs this season. Carolina Hurricanes. Peter Mrazek starts more games than Scott Darling. This was a tough prediction to make. I think both of these goalies are somewhat even. But Mrazek has played in bigger games with the Red Wings in the playoffs. Darling's had some big games with the Blackhawks too. Mrazek's had big games with the Red Wings and succeeded, and I think that if Carolina's relevant, and which I think there's a chance they are, I think Mrazek will get more reps in net than Darling. The Chicago Blackhawks. This is a sad one. Joe Quenneville and Stan Bowman both fired after the season. The Blackhawks last year I don't think was a mirage. I'm sorry. This roster is aging. I know they have the 3 cups to go with it, and they should be very proud of that, but it's time to rebuild. Build around Alex DeBrincat. Maybe keep Patrick Kane around, or you could even trade him to a team that's close to winning. But I think that Quenneville and Bowman both get the price for this. They traded a lot of first-round picks to go on Stanley Cup runs, and hey, a lot of it's worked out, I have to be fair. The Colorado Avalanche. Nathan MacKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen combined for over 100 goals. That is very bold. I think MacKinnon has a big year, and so does his line mates in Landeskog and Rantanen. And this team, I think, is poised to go back to the postseason. Columbus Blue Jackets. Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky remain with the team through the season. Yes. A lot of people are predicting that these 2 players will be traded. Not so fast. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I think, will be a playoff team, and both of these players will stick around and help them. The Dallas Stars. They'll be the best team to miss the playoffs. I have them with 95 points, and that is the most points I have projected by a team that I have missing the playoffs. I think they'll be in meaningful games in March, but I think the head-to-heads against St. Louis and Colorado and Minnesota will not go in their favor, as I like those other 3 teams more than I like Dallas. I think Dallas needs to be better on defense. I like Bishop, but I'm not that sold on him, and I just don't think he's the same guy as he was with Tampa Bay. And like I said, he's still solid, but he's just not as good as he used to be. Detroit Red Wings. Steve Yzerman is brought back as GM. This is the prediction I feel the best about. This seemed like bound to happen as soon as Yzerman resigned with the Lightning. So, there you go. And I think Ken Holland gets fired too, by the way. Edmonton Oilers. Speaking of firings, I think Todd McClellan gets fired. I do not have the Oilers back in the postseason. McClellan will pay the price. And I think it's a disgrace having the best player in the sport on your team and not making the playoffs. And honestly, I think McDavid's so special. That's like saying that you have LeBron James on your team and you miss the playoffs. That's like the Lakers missing the playoffs in the NBA. But we'll get to NBA predictions within the next few weeks, and I'm actually more optimistic about the Lakers than some folks are. Just a spoiler alert there. So yeah, Todd McClellan fired after another disappointing year in Edmonton. Florida Panthers. Alexander Barkov, top 10 in points. Yes. This seems bold because Barkov hasn't been healthy a lot. I think this is the year he finally puts it all together and helps the Panthers make the postseason. And he's a dark horse candidate for the Hart Trophy, in my opinion. He could be this year's Taylor Hall. And you know what? I think he is this year's Taylor Hall, except he doesn't win the Hart Trophy. Los Angeles Kings. Ilya Kovalchuk, less than 50 points. I just don't think he's the same player anymore, and I think he's too slow for the league today. The Minnesota Wild. Another season, another 100-point season for Bruce Boudreau. Boudreau always tends to put up 100-point seasons, whether it was with Washington, Anaheim, and now with Minnesota. I think it happens again as they make the playoffs. Montreal Canadiens. Carey Price has his worst season as a pro. I think Price is a goalie in decline, and the Canadiens are just not a good team this year, and that is certainly a big reason why I'm predicting this. The Nashville Predators. Roman Josi will be a Norris Trophy finalist. He'll finish in the top 3, but I don't have him winning the award. I think Victor Hedman wins the award, and I have Erik Karlsson as my runner-up, and I think Roman Josi will finish in 3rd. New Jersey Devils. Taylor Hall does not come close to last season's point total. And I mean that by he will be within more than 10 points of his total from last year. So I see like a 10 to 15 point regression from Taylor Hall from a year ago. And maybe I'm banking on an injury too. You never know. The New York Islanders. John Tavares will have more points than the leading point getter on the Islanders. Yeah, that's right. I think they're going to regret not re-signing John Tavares. And I think that some of their decisions within the front office and coaching are key reasons why Tavares left, as the Islanders tried to convince Tavares to stay. I think there's a lot of bad karma with the Islanders this year, as much as I respect Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz, but I'm just not high on this team whatsoever. Although I wouldn't be shocked if Tavares had, say, 80 points and, say, Anders Lee leads the Islanders in points and he has 75. Like, if that's the case, then this prediction works. New York Rangers. Rebuild continues as they continue to trade veterans not named Henrik Lundqvist. Mont Zuccarello, Kevin Hayes, Mark Stahl, I expect all to be traded at the deadline this year. Maybe even Mika Zibanejad, maybe even Brady Shea, Brendan Smith. There's a lot of guys I can point at. I don't think Chris Kreider is among those that will be traded, but it certainly can't be out of the question. But I literally think that if you told me a player on the Rangers is going to be traded, I wouldn't be surprised, unless if you told me Henrik Lundqvist, because I know Henrik Lundqvist wants to remain a Ranger for life. And that's what I think is going to be the case. And plus, by the way, I'm going to get more into Lundqvist a little bit on the podcast, but what is his trade value exactly? I think he's been a goalie in decline over the last 4 years. And you could even make a case that the year they won the President's Trophy, he got hurt that year, that he was kind of in decline then. Ottawa Senators. Guy Boucher, first coach fired. This was easy. Philadelphia Flyers. Trades for Craig Anderson. Yes. My surprise player traded this year is Ottawa goaltender Craig Anderson. And he'll be the missing goaltender, at least for the short term, for the Flyers, as I have them picked to go to the Western Conference Finals. And I think Anderson would be a big part of that. He'd be an upgrade over Brian Elliott. And Anderson's played very well in big games before. He was really good when they made the conference finals 2 years ago and they upset the Bruins and the Rangers in back-to-back series. And I think Anderson would be a great fit on Philadelphia. Pittsburgh Penguins. Bolsters their defense midseason by trading for Vancouver's Michael Del Zotto. I expect Del Zotto to be on the move, like a lot of veterans in Vancouver. And I think Del Zotto can slide right into their second or third pairing on defense in Pittsburgh. San Jose Sharks. Trades for Jordan Eberle. I talked about the Islanders a little bit before and how I don't think they're going to be very good. I think Eberle is a player that's going to be traded this year. San Jose would be a nice fit. The St. Louis Blues. Vladimir Tarasenko, career high in points. With a lot of better players around him with the addition of Ryan O'Reilly, I think Tarasenko has his best season yet. Tampa Bay Lightning. Another year, another former or soon-to-be former Ranger player will be on their roster. This time, Mats Zuccarello. I think Zuccarello will be traded from the Rangers to Tampa Bay. And the Tampa Bay Rangers joke will continue. Toronto Maple Leafs. Austin Matthews leads the team in points. Yes, I did predict that John Tavares will have more points than the leading point getter on the Islanders. But my prediction is that Matthews will lead the Maple Leafs in points. I think he's primed for a monster season playing with Tavares and Mitch Marner and William Nylander. And I think he'll be in play for the Hart Trophy too. Matthews, I'm talking about. Vancouver Canucks will finish in last place in the Pacific Division despite trying to improve their roster. They brought in guys like Louis Eriksson and Jay Beagle, but they don't fit their rebuild. They need to keep going young, but instead they're trying to rush it. And I feel like Arizona's doing the same thing a little bit, but Arizona at least has Clayton Keller and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And Vancouver really doesn't have anybody on defense right now, although their offense is going to be pretty good, I think. Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson, less than 25 goals. I think Karlsson is going to regress. And I think a 23-goal, 30-assist season is his most likely outcome for the year. So that would be 53 points. But my bold prediction is that less than 25 goals. Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin reaches 50 goals again. Ovechkin's not slowing down anytime soon. He's happy he won his Stanley Cup. And I really think that the Capitals are going to come out and be motivated because people are doubting them yet again. And I think that Ovechkin will get to 50 yet again. Winnipeg Jets. Patrick Laine, Hart finalist. I strongly considered picking Laine to win the award, but I decided to go with McDavid, which I felt was the safer choice. But I think Laine finishes third for this award behind McDavid and Sidney Crosby. Breakout players for every team. Anaheim Ducks, Troy Terry. Arizona Coyotes, Alex Galchenyuk. Boston Bruins, Ryan Donato. And by the way, there's some rookies on this list. Buffalo Sabres, Rasmus Dahlin. Calgary Flames, Matthew Tkachuk. Carolina Hurricanes, Andrei Svechnikov. Chicago Blackhawks, Nick Schmaltz. Columbus Blue Jackets, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Colorado Avalanche, Tyson Yost. Dallas Stars, Miro Heiskanen. Detroit Red Wings, Evgeny Svechnikov. Edmonton Oilers, Kyler Yamamoto. Florida Panthers, Henrik Borgstrom. Los Angeles Kings, Adrian Kempe. Minnesota Wild, Joel Eriksson Ek. Montreal Canadiens, Max Domi. Nashville Predators, Matthias Ekholm. New Jersey Devils, Nico Hischier. New York Islanders, Kiefer Bellows. New York Rangers, Lias Anderson. Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk. Philadelphia Flyers, Nolan Patrick. Pittsburgh Penguins, Daniel Sprong. San Jose Sharks, Timo Meier. St. Louis Blues, Robbie Fabry. Tampa Bay Lightning, Mikhail Sergachev. Toronto Maple Leafs, Travis Dermott. Vancouver Canucks, Elias Peterson. Vegas Golden Knights, Shea Theodore. Washington Capitals, Chandler Stevenson. Winnipeg Jets, Kyle Connor. And last but not least, the flop players. Players that I think are going to be disappointing or not live up to expectations this year. Anaheim Ducks, Corey Perry. This is because of the injury, and I don't think he will recover in time. Arizona Coyotes, Antti Ranta. Boston Bruins, Zdeno Chara. Buffalo Sabres, Jason Pominville. Calgary Flames, Mike Smith. Carolina Hurricanes, Scott Darling. Chicago Blackhawks, Corey Crawford. Columbus Blue Jackets, Brandon Dubinsky. Colorado Avalanche, Philip Grubauer. Dallas Stars, Mark Mathot. Edmonton Oilers, Cam Talbot. Florida Panthers, Roberto Luongo. Los Angeles Kings, Ilya Kovalchuk. Minnesota Wild, Zach Parise. Montreal Canadiens, Jonathan Drouin. Nashville Predators, Dan Hamhuis. New Jersey Devils, Keith Kincaid. New York Islanders, Thomas Greiss. New York Rangers, Henrik Lundqvist. Talked about a couple minutes ago his trade value, and I don't think he really has much, but I think that the Rangers would have liked to traded him, but like I said, I don't think there's much value for him, and Lundqvist openly admits that he wants to play the rest of his career in New York. But I just think, like I said, he's a player in decline, and with a suspect defense behind him, that certainly won't help his numbers. Ottawa Senators, Bobby Ryan. Philadelphia Flyers, Brian Elliott. Explains to why I have that prediction of them trading for Craig Anderson. Pittsburgh Penguins, Jack Johnson. San Jose Sharks, Joe Thornton. St. Louis Blues, Jay Baumeister. Tampa Bay Lightning, Dan Girardi. Toronto Maple Leafs, Patrick Marleau. Vancouver Canucks, Jay Beagle. Vegas Golden Knights, William Karlsson. Washington Capitals, John Carlson. I just think that after he was paid, I just think that his production's going to dip a little bit, at least from an offensive standpoint. Winnipeg Jets, Marco Dano. And that's it for the 2018-19 special NHL hockey season preview and predictions podcast. I hope you guys have a great night, everybody.